What is up, Gorilla Nation? It is Relentless here, bringing you yet another Division 2 video. But if you happen to be new to the channel, or you're just enjoying the content, then please be sure to ground and pound that like and subscribe button. Also, reach up there, trigger the bell, and turn on post notifications, so that way you never miss a live stream or a video that is uploaded. Well, you've asked me several times in comments and even on some past live streams on what I think what one should do in trying to prepare for Title Update 7, because we all know that every single thing in the game is basically getting revamped. You know, there's a lot of speculation going on. There's even some that'll, put out videos and giving you a tip as far as make sure your specialization's leveled up. Well, I mean, only if you're new to the game would you not have that already done. So let's go over some basics that, in my opinion, I think that would help you prepare for Title Update 7. In case in point, since there's going to be a lot of recalibration, case in point, make sure your crafting station is up to par and leveled all the way up, and then most importantly, make sure you have your materials maxed out. And typically how you do that is either just by farming typically and deconstructing those pieces, or you can hit up what I think is the best run when it comes to actually farming for components and electronics and things of that nature, is basically just go down here to the East Mall and just hit up these control points, level them up, and hit them up in succession, and basically zigzagging back and forth through the solar farm, and you're going to be maxed out on electronics and all that type stuff to the max. And then what stuff you actually get from farming all these control points, you can sell and make sure you get your funds up. So that way you have the funds and materials that which you will need for Title Update 7 for all the recalibration. Now, the second thing I would tell you is more or less pay attention to the state of the game, because nothing is stitched in stone as of right now. There's a lot of speculation. People are telling you what's going to be best, this and that. But in all honesty, we don't exactly know because it's not set in stone. Right now, they're just going through the motions and unveiling certain things, and we've only had 2 State of the Games in which, they kind of hit it on certain talking points, and there's still a third one yet to come before we get Episode 3. So case in point, all the little screenshots of the brand sets that they are showing you. Case in point, I believe it is the Heligard. The one piece is 5% total armor, and then the second piece currently is 20% hazard protection, but that's going to be changing to 8% health. And then the 15% pulse skill power they have thus far said it was going to be armor regen. And then Wyvernware has to do something with skills, and then Fenris is more or less assault rifle damage, and then reload speed. So every single brand set screenshot that they pull up that actually shows you the 1, 2, and 3 piece bonuses, write that down, make a mental note of it, and if that's a particular brand set that, meets your fancy, that you are inclined to want to try to utilize it, then by all means, go farm those specific loot items. What items are absolutely trash, then deconstruct them so that way you have materials in case you just want to craft something to find those talents that you want. But the talents that we currently have on the chess piece, or if you're still going to be able to use those, or wanting to use those, I should say, then make sure you keep a hold of those pieces, because yes, the attributes that we currently have are going to be gone, and you're going to have to choose basically between armor, skill power, and weapon damage. So it's been asked of them on Twitter multiple times. So let's say you have a piece, for instance, right here, 15.5% total armor, that's going to be gone. So it's going to come down to when they, adjust all these pieces we currently have and update them to what they're going to be, what stats are going to remain and what is going to be more or less taken off. In this case in point, logical thinking would say that the maxed roll on this particular chess piece would be the 14.5% weapon damage. And let's say the max is actually going to be reduced, which is it's not, but let's just say case in point it is, then it would adjust to the current level of what it's going to be, but then this particular chess piece would still be left with that high weapon damage on it. And then if I wanted to, I could roll it to, let's say, a numerical value of armor or even skill power when the new update comes. And case in point, the likes of Fenris, Overlord, DNH, all these particular brand sets, I would say, since we have a couple months before Title Update 7, to go farm these different brand sets and these loot Pacific locations, such as, on the map, like this week, it's Overlord right here, Alp Summit. Then you have Badger Muff, and then Providence Defense. Make sure you have at least one decent piece for each slot in your loadout. So make sure you have all 6 pieces of D and H and that have good stats on them, or at least when it comes to the chest piece and backpack, what talents you are possibly going to be using, such as like Hardened and Berserk, or whatever, because there are new talents that's going to be introduced into the game. So you got to keep that in mind. But starting out, these particular pieces are going to become irrelevant because of the gear score increase. They're going to become obsolete. But as soon as it drops, they're still going to be very much viable. So to have something in place, to correspond to that, the changes or whatnot, I would say more or less make sure you have the good rolls that you could possibly get on each individual slot for each individual brand set. It's very easy to come across Heligard for every single slot. Little other brand sets are, not as common as others, but that gives us those loot Pacific zones that we can actually go farm for. So once you have all your materials, when it comes to crafting, then it comes to funds, and since most of it's trash garbage anyways, you can actually get your funds way up there. So when it comes time to re-roll pieces, those are already going to be there, so you're already going to hit it running as soon as it drops. Now the other thing would be when it comes to like the named weapons or exotics. If you're still missing out on certain exotics, then go farm for exotics. The easiest way is, they can drop basically anywhere. The Pestilence was said to be only in the DZ, but it's even dropped in the open world. And just make sure you could run with somebody that has the exotic that you're actually looking for. So that way, when you go do these heroics, that, it has a chance to drop for them. And that way, since they already have it, they can easily pick it up and then drop it for you. So that way you can have it too. So whatever exotics that you plan on using or want to use, get them now so that way you already have them in place for when Title Update 7 drops. Same as when it comes to the likes of the named weapons as well. Like the Virginian, the Apartment, even the Diamondback, the McKinley College is going to be opening up, so that way you can get that. The Pyromaniac, the Rail Splitter. Anytime that you see, Mendoza has any of these named weapons that you want to use, they're getting revamped too. And it said they're going to be a little stronger than their base version. So the Pyromaniac, even its base damage will be higher than just the regular Police M4. So make sure you get those named weapons and farm for those. You can get them from Mendoza, the Den of Thieves. Each and every week, the vendor resets. They usually are some at either the base of operations, like a level 30 clan vendors, anywhere you can get your hands on them. And if you want to know the actual locations for each named weapon and gear piece, I do have that video up on my channel. You can actually go look it up, especially when it comes to the weapons in general, because they're just going to actually really get better, whereas the named pieces, such as we have now, like the Emperor's Guard, and then, of course, Ferocious Calm, and like Claws Out, which is the perfect Bloodlust, we're only going to have talents on our chest piece and backpack. So therefore, you don't necessarily have to farm for the named brand set pieces that have like the perfect talents on them, because those are going to be null and void unless they're basically on the chest piece and backpack. But as far as mainly the named weapons. So a quick recap, so that way I'm not taking too much of your time and rambling on. Make sure you get your materials up. Make sure you get your funds up. Get your hands on all the exotics that you have yet to get, and all, of course, the named weapons of choice. And then this is just more or less my opinion. Get a piece that has whatever the highest amount of whatever attribute you want in that particular slot for every brand set in your loadout. Make sure you have something in every single slot for every single brand set, so that way you're going to have a plethora of things to actually choose for, to mix and match when the update drops, so that way you hit the ground running. But I hope it's been informative. I hope it helps you out. That's something I'm going to plan doing. Even if I'm tired and burnt out on playing the same old missions over and over, there's actually a farming route you can actually do. You can just fast travel here. You can go down that little cellar building and get all those. You can fast travel to this safe house, run straight across, go down into the sewers to get your keys and whatnot, and then basically the around the Lincoln Memorial, then straight up the water, and make sure you get all those orange crates. I have a video for those on my channel as well. That's a farming route that I do each and every day. Especially, like I said, if you're burnt out on playing the missions repeatedly, at least with episode 3 coming next month, it'll give us something new to do. But we have, we'll still be currently farming for the same pieces. Just be on the lookout for those max rolls on each individual piece, and don't get farm for the ones that have the highest percentage based armor on them, but go for the numerical value instead of the percentages. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you fudging later.